Ladies and gentlemen of the interwebs, welcome to the Beacon Roundtable. Got Jangle, we got Chris here on the line with you today. It's been a pretty monumental week, not to say the least. It's kind of crazy that we are well, when we had this call last week, the BTC ETF decision had not been granted yet. So it did get granted after a false start of sorts, and the numbers are pretty telling. But before we talk about that, there's an interesting tweet that came out on the line. I believe it was yesterday, 2 days ago, Monday, from
Oh,
Rabby.
yeah, I was
Literally
wondering where you're
just,
going with this.
all it is just a picture of a camera. Jangle, when you see a picture of a camera in this context, what do you think they're hinting at?
I think they're saying they took a snapshot. I think that's what it is. It's funny how long everybody's been waiting for a MetaMask airdrop. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's been the meme for I don't know years. It's been at least 2 years. People have really been waiting for that MetaMask token and airdrop. But Rabby, which is the objectively superior wallet in every way, is now saying they've taken their snapshot basically. So I'm excited. Hopefully, the Rabby token has some value cool, or even better, some memeage, and I get an airdrop, and I can sell that for some ETH or some stables or something like that. Because I don't know, I don't know if I'd be holding on to the token. I guess depends on the tokenomics and what the vibes are. But I hope that I get an airdrop from it
Yeah,
because
what do you think the utility of a Rabby governance token would be, or why would they have a token? I guess is the better question.
yeah, I have no clue how you work a token into the Rabbit ecosystem. Maybe like they find some like the mid curve thing is they find some way to get to harvest MEV at the wallet layer and then find a way to redistribute that back to token holders. But the right curve and the left curve take is probably like they have the ability to pump it somehow with memes or exposure, or they just have a place where users go that they can make it easy to buy Rabby token. So that could be an argument for it having some price action. But yeah, that's not really the game that I play. So unless they come up with something that satisfies my mid curve wannabe right curve brain, which is some real revenues, then I'll probably dump it. But that doesn't mean that the left curves and the true right curves will not be buying and pumping it. So who knows? But yeah, I'm excited to see when the airdrop is, what the valuation could look like, and what shall be getting.
Yeah, for anybody who follows us at our free group, Beat the Banks, or in the mastermind, with Rabby is the wallet that we recommend above all else. So if you've installed your Rabby wallet by following our guides, you probably qualify here. No idea when they took their snapshot. We just know that they most likely have. I haven't actually claimed any of my NFTs as well that you can claim for free too. So I don't know if that might have something to do with it, but I guess we'll find out. So yeah. Anyway, like we mentioned before, we're a week out from the spot Bitcoin ETFs that launched last week. I think all 9 of them. Eric Balkunis with Bloomberg calls them the newborn 9 for some reason, but love the little chart here comparing them, the premiums and discounts for the first 3 days against the GBTC chart in terms of where things are going. I'm sorry, the discount for GBTC. So interesting to see how there's a little bit of a convergence here with regards to their premiums. Looks like they're quite low, which is a good thing. So hopefully, at least it looks like there's a ton of people who've gotten in. It's looking like the volume for the first 3 days has reached nearly $10 billion, which is a pretty crazy number if you think about it.
Yeah, I mean, okay. how many inflows has there been? So how much has exited GBTC? About 1.4, $1.5 billion have exited GBTC. And it looks like about a little over $1.5 billion is in the rest of these ETFs. So the clear leaders are outside of Grayscale's GBTC, which, just so you know, GBTC has by far the highest fee structure out of all these. So the good news for GBTC is it's the market leader, and there's probably a lot of folks in GBTC who have a low cost basis, and they don't want to sell because they don't want to have the taxable event. So GBTC is actually able to charge much higher fees than really anybody else and not instantly lose this game because they're already a leader. And, let's say, you have a $6,000 tax bill per BTC. You might be willing to stomach a higher fee in order to not actualize that tax bill this year. So that's the thought. So Grayscale's fee is 1.5. iShares is, let's see, I think it's like 0.39.
Is it?
Let's see. No, it's 0.25. Sorry.
Yeah, it's 25 basis points, right, for the first
Yeah,
5 billion.
Yep, 25 bips for BlackRock's iShares, and then 39 basis points for Fidelity. So BlackRock being very competitive here, because one thing to note is Fidelity is actually managing the custody themselves. So Fidelity's been mining Bitcoin since I think around 2013. And so they've got security and custody figured out in-house, whereas I think the rest of these, except for maybe one other, is going with Coinbase. So from a Coinbase perspective, you'd want to see BlackRock kind of win, right? Because or any of the other Coinbase custodian customers, but including GBTC, I believe. But yeah, you can't really root against Fidelity. They've been a champion of the industry for so long. They've been involved in Bitcoin for so long. So good for them for being able to essentially have wider margins, right? Because their cost of custody is very, very low because they handle it in house. So they've got the higher fee. BlackRock probably, not making much money on this product right now. They're really sacrificing profits today to be that market leader. And so far, it's working. It seems to be a winning strategy. And yeah, I anticipate the IBIT BlackRock ETF and the Fidelity ETF to continue to be the leaders. And yeah, I'm excited personally to be able to sell cash secured puts. So I've got cash in brokerage accounts and that sort of thing. And maybe if any of those execute, if we have a correction, then be able to sell covered calls on Bitcoin. Just have some income generating strategies around selling, covered calls and cash secured puts on some of these. So I'm interested to see, as far as liquidity for the options market goes, which ends up being the most liquid and the most utilized in the options market for some of these things. And that will probably determine, liquidity begets liquidity. So fees, the difference between 25 and 39 bips, not that large when you're, in the TradFi world, when you're, talking about options, people just prefer liquidity as well. So yeah, it's very exciting. I think GBTC is going to continue to see outflows over time because its fee structure is high, and their goal seems to be, with, again, 1.5% fees, way higher than any of the other competitors. Their goal seems to be to just wring this towel for whatever it's worth, and maybe at some point in the future reduce fees or not. But they're by far making the most money today out of all of these issuers. So
Interesting that Valkyrie has only half a million in assets under management. Hopefully that they can get a little bit more in there to kind of make a little bit of noise. And then I do wonder, how soon before we see more ETFs get approved. I guess we'll see. But
Yeah, I think that if it's hard to come into this space and compete, right? Like there was a GBTC had a lead because I mean, hey, they pioneered this whole thing. They're the ones who actually sued the SEC and won for this to become a possibility. So they're the clear first mover. So that's why they have that huge advantage and they're able to reap the rewards of that now. But what are the odds that you're going to launch an ETF today and go up against BlackRock and Fidelity and Bitwise and ARK, these clear leaders? It's pretty low. So I think that who we see now, I mean, really BlackRock and Fidelity, in my eyes, maybe Bitwise are the clear market leaders. We'll see how this shifts, but the market is telling us what it wants to happen, and the market wants BlackRock, and maybe that changes when BlackRock raises their fees to back to 0.25 is their max. So
right.
right now it's 0.12. So it's 12 bips for the first 6 months or first $5 million of inflows. So after 6 months from now or $5 billion of inflows, maybe that changes. But honestly, like I'm a little not impressed with the net inflows of capital into these products. Like we see some capital moving from GBTC into iShares, Fidelity, and Bitwise, but net inflows are not yet crossing into the billions of dollars by my quick estimations looking here, and that's sad because that's kind of what you need. I mean, they're probably in the tens or hundreds of millions, but what we need if we want Bitcoin to go structurally higher throughout the rest of the year is money to buy it. So maybe the halving, I've been seeing on CNBC people talking about the halving, these sorts of things, and maybe that improves the inflows over time. I don't think that having these products can hurt, but a little sad, honestly, that we weren't able to crack $1 billion of inflows, not just volume, but inflows, capital that wasn't in Bitcoin or into these products that found its way into Bitcoin. Um, and we're seeing that reflect in the price action. So a little bit of a sell off, and certainly not euphoric run up because the capital is not there to bid. So pretty sad, honestly.
But the
People
year is
quoting
young.
volume, but the year's young. And we'll see how the halving shakes things up. And this will be ultimately just another avenue to be able to get
Yeah.
capital into the industry.
Just before we came on, something came across my timeline that there's a possibility that a couple of Asian markets may come through with some BTC ETFs. So that could be huge, especially for investing on that side of the ocean. So we'll see. We'll definitely see. Um, you and I both know, Jangle, that we agree that one of the true killer apps of crypto is the stablecoin. Now, one in particular,
Yeah,
link,
especially the ones that DPEG
yeah, especially the ones at DPEG, right?
really brings a whole new meaning to the word killer app.
Yeah, I suppose so. True USD, which is linked to Justin Sun with Tron as one of their, well, not necessarily for Tron, but for Justin Sun, period. Um, I guess they have depegged after changing accounting firms to specifically, push for attestations for what their collateralization is. Overall, true USD reserves are, for the most part, T bills and some other things, but sell off. I think 300 million sold off after that change. It's not specifically tied to that, but it just happened to be right after that change. But what's interesting is that nobody has come through to ARP that. So yeah, that to me
I
that's
won't
the
be arbing that. Will you be? I mean, I've never,
no.
I've never used TUSD.
Neither have I. I mean, it's a fairly popular pool on Curve on mainnet, but for me personally, I'm surprised nobody's arbed it. But I mean, because it's been out there, I guess since I even saw, I think since mid, where is it? Yeah,
I have no beef with
this
Justin Sun, but I just like he doesn't necessarily instill confidence in me. I
right.
I don't know.
I mean, help save
Um,
Curve, right?
I guess he was one of the OTC buyers, yeah.
Yep.
When they were facing this liquidations on Aave, but yeah, don't use the stablecoin. I have never really looked at the attestations for TUSD or the firm that does them,
Hmm.
and it's it's a little spooky to me. So I don't touch it. But I'm not saying that it's unbacked. I just literally have no insight into this at all.
Yeah, well, hopefully, I mean, hopefully they can figure out how to. I didn't realize I wasn't sharing the screen, but specifically, this is your proportion of reserves for true USD based on attestations. So hopefully they get that back up and running, and there seems to be some confidence, and it doesn't make anything affiliated tumble, which would probably be the one thing that I'm worried about. But
Or it does, and
yeah,
you flush out some of the nonsense. That'd be an acceptable outcome as well, in my eyes.
yeah, there's that.
If it's nonsense, if it's totally backed and they're just having a kind of liquidity crunch with their redemption mechanism, then you know, then there will be some market participants who have confidence in that and are willing to buy the dip, like what happened during the USDC depeg, right?
Right.
So, but I don't have the same level of confidence into USD because I'm just unaware of their audits and attestations and the firms executing them. So, I'm not willing to step in here and risk my whatever I put in for this arbitrage for what is it, a 1.5% upside. It's just the risk reward isn't there for me to be arbing
Right.
this ZPEG personally.
I mean, it's just one of those things. I mean, I personally, and obviously not financial advice. We're not saying to go and arb to USD, but yeah, kind of an interesting thing. But one thing we are going to give you advice to do is to do what, Jangle?
Hit that like button. That was smooth.
Thank you. I know. I tried.
Mm-hmm.
Hit the like button, subscribe, keep going.
That's it. That's all we got.
That's all we got. Keep the likes coming. Thanks everybody for joining us today. Yeah, there's a lot more to talk about. Sticking on the same road with stablecoins. I mean, we have to look at the market leader. The market leader being Tether. They're in the crossfires of the United Nations, saying that Tether is pretty much the main reason that there is illicit criminal activity in East Asia. It was an interesting. I think they went over the UN Office on Drugs and Crime. Says that the majority of laundering is done using USDT, which I mean, I'm not gonna say they're not wrong, but at the same time, it's a bit of an interesting jab at Tether, who owns 69% of the market share for the stablecoin industry. To their credit,
No way. Is it really 69%?
I don't know. I just pulled that. I just tried to meme.
Okay. No, that's perfect. It's probably right. I'm looking it up.
So interestingly enough, Tether took to their blog platform, mainly to just fire back, because the one thing that Tether has done, and they have proved they will do, is they will blacklist using their platform to keep money from heading out to all types of externally owned accounts or EOAs. So
It's 71%.
oh
By the
wow,
way.
it's higher.
It,
Okay.
it was 69% about a month ago.
Okay, good to know. So
yeah, it's going up. It doesn't want to stop. Can't stop the tether.
Tether to
People want the tether.
$5. $5 tether still on the table, ladies
Yeah,
and gentlemen.
tether bulled up. And how's the other doing? It's pretty flat at 18%. It's kind of decreasing though. Like ever since that March depeg, right? It went from
For USDC?
let's see. It was in the mid 20s, the high 20s. Okay, it's actually been trending up through oh wait, no, 23. I'm looking at the wrong year. It went from essentially at the mid 20s through the beginning of 2023 to now at about 18.5%. So USDC dominance down a little bit, but Tether dominance really since the beginning of 2022, since March of 2022 has been just up only, up only. And I saw actually a clip on Twitter of this guy from uh, Bloomberg, I think, talking about I don't know, you can Howard Lutnick. He says
That's a name.
he says he does a lot of the treasury management for Tether, and I guess he's not an accounting firm, but he's basically saying live on air like they say they got 81 billion, like they got a lot. I've handled a lot of their treasuries, like they got some money. So yeah, again, tethered truthers never. It's never been fashionable to be a tethered truther, and the market is telling us that they're solvent, whether or not they're onshore or offshore, whether or not they play ball with the U.S. government, which they seemingly do with their blacklisting function. Um, I honestly like my take is that a lot of people coming into 2024 are like, hey, Tether is going to be facing action from the Department of Justice and it's going to be a bad year for Tether. I don't know what stops Tether. I would like USDC to be the leader just because I feel like it's more onshore, it's more transparent. I feel way more comfortable in USDC. However, I'm not everybody, and there's a lot of people that don't understand how all this works, but they remember that DPEG in March, and so of USDC, and so they would rather hold Tether. And perhaps there is also the idea that they don't want as much exposure to the U.S. regulatory regime or the financial system, and they view Tether as a little bit of a shadow bank type situation, so they would rather that. Me personally, I'm cool with having some exposure to an onshore audited compliant stable coin for my stable coin of choice. As of now, until we get more decentralized, scalable solutions out there that have deep liquidity, that'd be great. Until then, USDC I feel safest with, but can't knock the tether.
No PayPal USDC?
I don't know, man. Like, why would I use PayPal
I was kidding. I
USD?
was kidding.
I mean,
It's surging,
but
apparently. I didn't put it on the
it's
agenda, but apparently it's surging.
let's look. Check the charts. It's up. Yeah, it's up 34% on the month, 3.9% on the week, and 0.49%, almost 0.5% on the 24-hour.
What are you doing right, PayPal? Why are people buying into your schemes? Tell us.
I don't know if it's integrated in DeFi at all. Like if people just like holding it because it's like PayPal. I think that there might be better sort of like bankruptcy protections with PYUSD than USDC. I think I heard that at one point in time, but yeah, dude, I don't know. I don't see it as a very liquid pair very often in DeFi, so I tend to not use it. USDC and USDT tend to always be liquid and available, so I usually stick with those.
Yeah, I will say that Tether decided to, pull out the education card and said that the UN could benefit from expanded understanding of blockchain technology and the immense improvements it offers with respect to fighting financial crime. So pretty much they just pulled the "you have no idea how blockchain tech works" card, which good for Tether. Hit them back with that.
Yeah, good for them, but they could get a little bit more flavorful, I think, in their
I think
clapbacks,
so.
don't you think? Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean
that was
that's
that was
pretty
very
mild.
tame.
Yeah, that's pretty mild. I mean, remember when Do Kwon would clap back at his stablecoin
Oh, it
fell?
was
Those were the
brutal. He was
days. Yeah,
savage.
no, yeah, yeah, like outright calling people poor, actually saying poor. Remember that one? Your
I
size is
remember.
not size.
Your size is not size.
Like maybe Do Kwon missed his calling. Maybe he didn't need to build a stable coin. That obviously could have gone better. Maybe just needs to be on a stablecoin PR team. You know,
Maybe.
could you imagine if Tether hired Do Kwon to be there to spearhead their PR? Wouldn't that be a play?
I mean, what if it was Circle?
Yeah, either one, really. I think that's how Circle makes a comeback is they hire Do Kwon to spearhead their PR.
Well, it's either that or it's with this one because apparently they have privately filed for an IPO.
Yeah.
Jeremy Allaire and crew have put out their S1 to have an IPO specifically for Circle. I don't know what this does in terms of effects or Yeah, I don't know how I don't know how I feel about this. I guess it's fine. Um, what is Coinbase's role in all of this?
Well,
You know,
Coinbase owns some Circle,
yeah, quite a bit.
equities, and I think that's Coinbase's role. And then they just have like the partnership and the equity share or whatever to align their incentives. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I think it's cool. I
Okay,
don't know. I don't
it'll
know
definitely
how
raise
the
some money
value.
for them. Like, what are they going to do with the money? That's what I'm curious about. Obviously, IPOs are used to raise capital. What do you do with the capital?
I think that the biggest opportunity is probably just finding a way, because like right now most stablecoin use that's like real use outside of DeFi is payments in developing nations or Latin America or Africa, where people want access to the dollar, they want access to be able to save in the dollar and to transact kind of freely. So I think finding doing BD with fintech apps and integrate stablecoins on the back end, and having Circle be settlement, USDC be settlement for that would be probably their main focus, to figure out how to evangelize USDC, have it start to gain market share again, and focus on growing the overall pie of stablecoins. And honestly, like in those communities, a lot of PR work, because while I feel much more comfortable using USDC on base or something like that, or even like Solana or something like that, like I know that there are a lot of people, like the data tells me there are a lot of people that they prefer Tether on Tron, which blows my mind. But hey, like I am not a representative sample of every single user or consumer. So I think Circle's got me, USDC's kind of got me, maybe the US based DeFi power user. I think Circle probably has the, dominance there. Maybe the offshore or non-US DeFi power user they could go after. But really, I think the bigger thing would be the non-US, the Latin American or the African, not DeFi power user, but like everyday stablecoin user, desire or dollar desire or right. So that would be that would probably be who they're targeting. So how do you get to them with integrations and fintech applications, supporting those fintech applications, evangelizing USC, and repairing the brand after the March TPEG, which I know still weighs heavily on the USDC brand, unfortunately, because it was really the failings of the US banking system that caused that DPEG. And it is just so unfortunate that many people around the world would rather not have exposure to a transparent US based stablecoin, because being transparent and being US based puts you at risk, because it makes it very clear whenever there are issues with the US banking system exactly how that stablecoin is affected. And the market reacted pretty rationally in depegging USDC to an equivalent. Maybe it overreacted slightly, but directionally correct. Where USDC for a moment, they were basically, they had deposits over FDIC limits at a bank that was experiencing a bank run, and so that hurt the brand a lot. But Feds made the banking system whole, so USDC got made whole. But most people just don't understand all that, so they just saw the DPEG.
Yeah, if anything, I think it's going to help with stablecoin regulation, bringing the right eyes on the product, having a publicly owned entity that puts forth stablecoins um, in partnership with Coinbase. I think I guess from a bureaucratic, optical, political standpoint, probably a good move for them to help raise public awareness and opinion, and people to literally invest in a company like this to see how things work. So, like I said, I wish them the best, and I hope things work out well for them with their IPO. Moving back to airdrops, we talked about possibly Rabby having one, but from the majority of people, at least in our groups, with Beat the Banks and our mastermind, we're looking towards the Jupiter airdrop. This is on Solana. Jupiter being a very long-standing DEX aggregator on the Solana blockchain. Um, I don't know a ton of people who got, I mean, I do know quite a few people who got a very large um, airdrop for this. Specifically, if you did more than 10K of swapping, which was very easy, if you had ever done any significant amount of NFT transactions on Solana, and you came from mainnet, you came from an EVM chain. If you use something like Wormhole or Portal Bridge, Jupiter was the easiest place to take those wrap tokens and swap them for actual assets. So I do know quite a few that have gotten the highest tier, which is a decent amount. Most people will probably get a fairly low allocation, but January 31st is the day for that. They're also apparently putting out a meme coin sometime next week. No idea what it's called, but for those who are interested in that, could be something interesting. The snapshot for this was taken back in November of 2023. So for anybody who's looking to possibly try and gain additional leverage, you won't. But nearly more than 950,000 eligible wallets. 4 billion of the 10 billion supply is being airdropped in at the end of this month. So anybody who has it, it's up to you what you want to do with it. Good luck either way. Jangle, do you qualify for this airdrop?
I haven't checked. Probably. Okay. But yeah, I mean, I'm not really like super active on Solana, but I've definitely used Jupiter before. So yeah, I'll check it out. Probably a smaller allocation if I were to guess. I know that this was probably fairly heavily sibbled after the Jito. So depending on when they took their snapshot, that might have diluted it a little bit. But yeah, Jupiter is super clean application. So it'll probably
based on
inject a lot of
activity.
liquidity into Solana based on the size of the airdrop.
I think so. Yeah, like I said, it's based on DEX activity. It turned out to be from their. There are some other ways too. If you held specific NFTs, you got at least a jump on some allocations. If you are an OG like us, you got a multiplier. So I think I had I have a tier 3 airdrop. So it's not bad. It's not a huge amount, but you never know.
What's the deadline claim?
I'm assuming up to the day. So
okay.
I'll put the link here in the chat. It's just airdrop.jupe.ag. If you're looking to claim, I would say, definitely try to double check your links, verify before you connect and find out. Obviously, there is much like found out there is a scam site for the Rabby one. So don't search Rabby and click on the sponsor link. You will get drained. Some people already have. So just be careful out there. Speaking of Solana, I didn't get a bonk phone, or rather the Solana Saga, the first one. But I guess back on the success of that, they're coming out with a second one. Don't know how I feel about this. I mean, it's all up to you. To me, this is more of trying to see if you can qualify for additional airdrops, because, if you have a Solana Saga phone, it did qualify you for multiple besides the bonk one. If you go to this website 2.solanamobile.com, you can actually go and pre-order. Right now, the founder window is open for $450. It's a non-refundable deposit. Shipping sometime next year. That's a long time. The specs on the original Saga were pretty mid, in my opinion. It went for $1,000 and was sent down quickly to about $550.
Yeah.
So ultimately, I mean, if you're looking for a phone that you would like to use as an everyday phone, I mean, it's an Android-based phone, so.
Yeah, MKBHD was super brutal in his review on this thing, but hey, he didn't take into account the airdrops. He did not take into account the bulk allocation on the phone. So,
oh yeah, they were selling for like what, $5K on eBay. So if you're looking for, you might be, if you want to pre-order, maybe you can get some ROI and get some chads who want to buy it just for the possibility of what might happen. So
Yeah,
There's
I don't
some
know if
alpha
I'm
for you.
playing that game. I don't know,
Well,
but
we already have people in our mastermind who already went and did it. So.
I mean, hey, it probably might probably work out. It'll probably work out in airdrops. I don't know if I'd buy 100, but buy a phone or two, try it out.
Hey, you
You got
never
to
know.
use these things, right? If who's going to use these crypto physical products if not us? So
Yeah, I mean
it's
it
almost our duty.
from me. So this the reason why Marquez doesn't care for the phone is because he doesn't use Web3. Ultimately, it uses IPFS in the background, and it has an app store that uses Web3 Rails. So if you're not in that ecosystem, then this phone is not for you. So, and he recognized that the specs on it
Yeah,
were fairly mid, but for the most part, it allows you to use Magic Eden. I think it has Phantom built in. There's a whole bunch of different Solana native things that are built into the phone. So if you wanted to use DeFi on your phone, which we don't advocate for, obviously, and we never have, and most likely will never will, um, it's got some tech in there. It has a secure element. So I'm going to hope that they're going to, hopefully by the time this comes out, have it so that you don't even need to know your seed phrase. It'll have like passkeys or some biometrics, and you'll be able to get online without it. So that would be a fun innovation if that's the case. Kujira has a new wallet called Sonar where they're using passkeys, so you don't need to know your seed phrase anymore to get on. So I'm hoping that tech will come here to the Solana phone moving forward. So if you're interested, let me put this link here in the chat. See if there are any takers. There might be. You never know. It'll also be in the show notes for anybody who's watching the recording. So yeah, that is the next Solana phone coming out next year of all times. I'm like, wow. I mean, they definitely could have went for holiday season. I mean, they're probably just white labeling an existing phone coming out of Asia. So
yeah.
I think that's interesting. But in any case, move on to our next one. Man, Javier Milei he's making some changes in Argentina, wouldn't you say, Jangle? You been keeping up with
Yeah,
him?
yeah. I mean, I see the memes. I
Mm-hmm.
definitely see the memes. They're great memes. So he seems like a libertarian giga chad, to be honest. Just my
Uh,
first impression.
props to to Dolly for creating this awesome image. So what's interesting is we've talked about Switzerland. We've talked about a couple different municipalities where BTC, obviously El Salvador as well, is accepted as legal tender. So we have our first lease created that's going to apparently be honored by the government.
I can't imagine this is the first. I mean, can't you just make a contract denominated in whatever you want? Like, couldn't we make a contract for a lease on, a apartment or anything denominated in like sticks or
I'm sure.
flash drives or
Hey,
water bottles? Or like, I mean, right?
yeah.
Nothing would make that illegal.
No, I suppose so. I mean, it's all a matter of if you were to take it to claims court, would it be something that would be, um, I don't know. Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
there's that. But specifically for Bitcoin, um, I have questions about it actually. But the tenant will
Oh,
pay
there's
$100
that
worth
new
of
tenant
Bitcoin every
guy.
month to the landlord. I'm like,
Wait, so it's denominated in dollars. It's denominated in dollars, not Bitcoin.
yes.
Yeah, it's $100 of Bitcoin. Yeah, that's funny. That's funny.
Hey, where can I live where my rent's $100 of Bitcoin a month?
South America, dude.
South America,
South
man, I'm
American.
missing out. Man, that's
Yeah,
like 15x what I normally pay for my mortgage. So,
yeah, that's crazy.
hmm.
I mean, $100 for rent is pretty. That's not the gringo price, that's for sure.
No,
So
that's true.
you'd probably get the
That's a
gringo
friends
price.
and family price there.
Yeah, that's a
Ladies and
local
gentlemen in the
price.
chat, if you would be willing to pay for your mortgage in crypto, would you do it?
Yeah, I mean, you can doesn't really matter. It's pretty easy to convert dollars to crypto and back and forth. So yeah.
Yeah, for me, I'm curious though. Is it what is the cost basis of Bitcoin? Is it just literally whatever $100 of Bitcoin is that month is what it's going to be based on like an escrow
Yeah,
account.
yeah. It's like when do they? Is it $100 worth of Bitcoin at this time on the first? And if you pay, what if you want to pay the night, but like a day early? You know, like
Yeah, and there's like
because
a
you got to
huge,
send the Bitcoin. Yeah,
yeah,
and then it pumps the next day. It's like, well, you owe me that pump because technically, yeah, weird.
or
Don't
even
know.
worse, it dumps, and then suddenly you're paying way more Bitcoin then.
Yeah, I don't know. I would just either denominate in dollars and pay in dollars, or denominate in Bitcoin and pay in Bitcoin. Um, that's how I would set it up. But
Hmm.
maybe Bitcoin will one day get to the point where it's stable enough, to be denominated. But like, it's tough because what are you gonna do? And then the landlord who's receiving this, like, are they converting it to dollars? Or are they holding the Bitcoin? Who knows?
It
So
looks
like,
like
do
the
they even?
service is doing it for him.
So really, you're just denominating in dollars, and you've got a way to instantly convert Bitcoin to dollars whenever it's sent. So the landlord doesn't care about the price. The tenant doesn't care about the price because they're going to probably find a way to convert dollars or pesos to Bitcoin relatively quickly, or they probably just have Tether. Because they get physical dollars and they exchange them for Tether. They get pesos and they exchange them for Tether. They find a way to exchange Tether for Bitcoin, send that Bitcoin, and that's instantly converted to dollars by whatever financial service. So, yep, yep. I mean, makes it sense. If my currency was devaluing at you know 50, 20, 50, 100% annually, then I would not even care about the price fluctuation of Bitcoin. I'd hold all of my emergency fund and savings and operating capital pretty much in Bitcoin as well.
Yeah,
So
so that's
yeah.
an interesting idea. That was made possible due to some amendments that President Malay had done after as he came into office with regards to paying taxes and other essential, I guess essential expenses like housing and stuff like that using cryptocurrency. So I guess we'll see how the Argentina experiment goes. But yeah, I'm pretty bullish on stuff like that. That makes me happy to see
Yeah, it's really
such
going to
things.
check a lot of these central banks all around the world that are just inflating the mess out of their currencies.
Yeah, it's like
It's the whole
what's
point.
our that's the
It's
whole
happening.
point.
Satoshi's vision. It's here. Feel it.
Exactly. Speaking of Satoshi, multi-bit for the Bitcoin network. Um, the bridge to bring BRC20 back and forth between the Lightning Network and Solana is now live. Personally, still not touching BRC20, but I'm looking into it because I'm very curious about what's going on. Um, what are your thoughts about BRC20, Jangle?
Hey, good for Bitcoin. I feel like Bitcoin is, stuff's happening. I feel like it wasn't for a long time, but now more entrepreneurs are interested in building things on Bitcoin, integrating with the Bitcoin network, Bitcoin L2s. So I think this could be an exciting cycle for Bitcoin. It could get some stuff done.
Yeah, we haven't had a whole lot of thought on BRC20 because ultimately there's no native DeFi on Lightning. But now that some of these other L2s are coming about, like Stacks and some of these other major uh, community-based blockchains uh, that can settle to Lightning, it's an interesting idea. I do still think it's fairly niche. I don't know if it has like the. I guess time will tell to see if it has the same. I guess the efficiency and reliability of something Solana or even Ethereum based. But I mean, this is one way to get started.
Yeah. Is Solana the new Binance Smart Chain of this cycle?
It's looking like it.
Yeah, it
It's
is, isn't
looking
it?
like it. They're finding a way to sell some block space at least.
It is, and you might have noticed my attire today. Whiff is up about 40%.
Jangle whiff hat. So you're
Yeah,
is that's your signal for whiff. That's nice.
it's whatever. I mean, I don't know what it is, but I'm just stating the facts. that I'm wearing the hat, and WIF is up about 40% today. So yeah, I think Solana's the new Binance Smart Chain. Here to here.
Oh, hopefully there's less rugs.
Yeah, probably. I mean, could there be more? Is that even a possibility?
Yeah, there could easily be more. Um,
Yeah.
you know, there just wasn't a whole lot going on in terms of you know, a lot of utility over the Christmas season with meme coins on Solana. It got kind of crazy, to be honest. But you know,
Any bad rugs? Any big rugs?
I mean, probably, actually, yeah, of course. I mean, when you have meme coins, there's some that are
Mhm.
literally just made for memes, and the moment that the bottom falls out, they cut and run. So it's
Yeah, but like I mean, like a rug where the team yanks the liquidity. Like
mm,
there's a way, like a rug, like a hard rug.
not that I've seen specifically.
Yeah, I haven't seen a whole lot of that on Solana either.
There's been a little bit of a soft rug though,
Yeah. Well, that's
and that would be with
everything's a soft
GameStop.
rug.
I thought that was
Oh,
a segue.
all right, all right.
So, did you know that GameStop had an NFT marketplace?
Yeah, I remember hearing about it. I've never used that NFT marketplace or been particularly bullish on it, but I remember when they were making an NFT marketplace.
Yeah, we
Yes,
talked
I
about
remember
it
hearing that
on a
headline.
roundup like 2 years ago
Yeah,
when they
yeah.
decided to come out with it. We actually talked about it.
Hmm.
Due to lack of regulatory environment, uh, you know, I don't know if maybe the Wall Street apes have told them to shut it down. Who knows? But
Yeah, don't know. I mean, didn't work for Coinbase, not working for GameStop. If Coinbase wasn't going to do it, GameStop definitely wasn't. So,
so if you did use their platform, you have until February 2nd to, I guess, well, I'm assuming they're in your wallet if you purchase them. Um, I guess you can still trade and sell and uh, deploy NFTs on their platform until February 2nd. So, um, yeah, they're gonna go bye bye, but you can still trade them on various NFT marketplaces out there. So,
yeah.
and you know what? That's what we got for today, Jangle.
Wow. I mean, it ended up being, I mean, obviously the biggest headline since last Wednesday is the launch of the approval, the real approval, not just the SEC Twitter account getting hacked, the real approval of the Bitcoin ETFs, and the fact that it was ultimately a somewhat bearish event in the short term, down 8.6% on the 7 day. Nothing too major, ran up pretty hard right before, so nothing too crazy, but yeah, the inflows have not been as juicy as one would have hoped. So I wonder how long it'll take to cross a billion. And honestly, I was hoping that in 2024 we would get greater than 25 billion of inflows into Bitcoin ETF products. Is that too much to ask for? Well, we'll see. If the halving goes and it leads to bullish price action, you might see a bunch of people FOMO into them, and we could see a lot of or at least the rate of the inflows into Bitcoin ETFs pick up. But I was hoping it'd be faster, to be honest. So, yeah, and then
Maybe it
yeah,
will be. I mean, we are in an election year. There could be some movement across the board with crypto as a platform for several candidates. Probably not, based on what we've seen in Iowa so far. So,
probably not. I don't think this is a
probably
key
not.
part of anybody's platform, but it could be less attacked. That'd be nice. That'd be an improvement.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess we'll see how it works out over the next 3 months, and where we go up post halving. I guess that's what it is. But the access is there. If you actually have bought into any of these ETFs, let us know. Curious about the process and how you feel about how it's going to perform. Would love to know more about that. So go ahead and take us home, sir.
All right, everybody. Thanks for coming. We'll be here next Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, every single week. Like if you haven't liked, subscribe, you're not subscribed, some of you aren't, hit the notification bell if you want to be made aware of every time we go live. And you can check the chat or the description for a link to our free group. We have a training every Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, our Beat the Banks community. So jump on there, say hi, and we'll see y'all next week. 07.
See you guys later. Have a great day. Enjoy your Wednesday.